In the second part of your information specifications, he wants to see some different scenarios. And what we're going to do is we're going to change the number of units sold, the revenue per unit, and then some of the variable costs. So then he will be able to look at the income statement based upon these new values. Now, rather than copying the whole income statement over again and changing everything, Excel has the great what if analysis tool called Scenario Manager. So first of all, we need to set up the original scenario so that we can always go back to the original scenario. What I did was I simply told it that the values that we're going to change were in B2. I held the shift key or the control key and selected B3, and then the variable cost per unit we're going to change. Actually, I think it told you in there that you could choose which one you wanted to change, so I'm going to change the variable overhead and take out the variable cost total. So that's the original scenario, and that includes our value 85 units sold, the revenue per unit, and the value of the variable overhead that we're going to change in the next scenario. So we've set up our original, and then we want to add a new one. And that scenario is going to increase the number of units sold to 150, decrease the revenue per unit to $9.50, and decrease the variable cost unit by $20. So we chose the variable overhead. So we add a new scenario, we have to name it. And I didn't do scenario 1. The changing cells are going to be the same as my original, and then it's going to ask you, well, what values do you want in those cells? So we wanted 150. We're changing this to 950, and it told us to reduce the variable cost by $20. So that's going to be what? Calculator up here, 514.72 minus $20, and you could probably calculate that if you wanted to. 494.72. Now, if you want to look at your scenario 1 and see what happens, there you go. We've changed the number of units sold, the revenue per unit, and it changed our variable overhead. You can also see that our sales went up significantly. See what our ratios are now. Change the target income analysis. So it changed everything on that worksheet because you had all of the formulas there. So now you want to continue then and add your scenario 2. Now your book asked you for a summary, so we want a summary of all these scenarios, and it will automatically put it for you on another worksheet. And there's the original, there's scenario 2, which I did as scenario 1, and scenario 3. So this will show me that these were the changing values, and the scenarios themselves are still on our original table, and at any time you can go into the what if analysis, select the scenario manager, show that scenario, and you see all of the values that change. So Scenario Manager really isn't that difficult at all.